Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another evening of Wednesday with Delenn. I'm hanging out on the Bedrock solo world I've got going, and going to make a couple of minor changes, some squirreling stuff, but then we have a lot of choppity chop to do. We need a lot of wood done. Good evening, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and thank you for doing that moderator thing. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we have a lot of choppy to get done today. And we're going to set out a couple of chests just to see if we can get ourselves sorted on how much of what we have so that we can get things going, because we need a ton of stuff. The other part I need to work on is I did not get the structure figured out today. Was busy helping our kids pack for our trip that we leave tomorrow. What is this? Is that my random dump chest? That's my dump. Okay. And it occurred to me that I'm pretty sure the island is not wide enough to do what I'm trying to do, so we're going to need to do some terraforming of the island. But I have not actually played with Structura, so I have to actually do that with a tutorial by my side, which doesn't work well on stream. Yes, in English. Okay, fortune hoe. We're good. So first place to squirrel off to. We need a lot of stuff. I can probably dump the mangrove. So first place to squirrel off to is the storage that we've got for now, and see about emptying up some space. Oh, and I am settings. I've got my sound going in two different places at the moment. I forgot this is Bedrock, so I just need to set my volume mixer on my computer so I'm not hearing the game twice. There we go. That should solve that. There we go. Excellent. Problem solved. but Minecraft seems a bit quiet to me. I'm gonna crank this, and then please let me know if it's too loud for everybody. That's better. It's better for me. I can always turn my own computer up if I need to. Okay, what was I trying to do? I was trying to put things away, wasn't I? Okay. I've not yet got everything labeled to know where everything goes. So it's going to take me a little bit to figure that out, because every time I play the game, I get into one world, I know where I'm at, and then I go and promptly do something that confuses me. Okay. Where did I put the cherry wood? Huh. That's not cherry. That's not cherry. That isn't. What's this? Dirt? No. I'm definitely going to need to label things. Cherry and jungle. And this is our project box, it looks like. Alright. Where is... Am I not saving? Huh. I thought I was saving the... Sorry, I thought I was saving the carpets somewhere. There they are. Let's put these in with the mangrove, otherwise I'm going to be completely confused. Labelable shulkers would be beautiful. That would be, yeah, a million times better than what I've got right now. Or I'm just trying to figure out, where did everything go? Right? Okay. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. I'll leave that in my inventory for now. I need junk wood. Hello, Scrub Lord. Good to see you. Good evening. This is going to be a bit of a choppity chop chat type stream, because I'm doing a lot of prep for building a mansion in here, and as such, we need a lot of supplies. So there's going to be a good amount of chatter and chat. Let's go 16. There we go. And where would that come from? That wood came from up here. 1, 2, let's leave the blocks up here. That's for the flooring on the other side. I need to...
Hello there!
Hello there! Good evening, Dibble Shrugs. How are you? Yes, we are on my personal world this evening. So it is a 1.20 world. Definitely is a 1.20 world. I'm not intending to do a whole lot at the moment. What I'm hoping to do for a base building, the intention anyways, is to tear out absolutely everything once I see how big this thing is, and basically do a copy of a woodland mansion. But I'm going to do a copy of a woodland mansion, but I'm going to change up the materials. So we basically have two, what's the word? When you do a woodland mansion, there's mostly dark oak and regular oak. No, sorry, dark oak and birch involved, I believe. And this time we're going to do cherry and jungle. And I just had a woohoo! Thank you very much for the cheer, Tom. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're spoiling me, making me smile. So this is one of the worlds that I will be taking with me on vacation, starting tomorrow evening. So this one will come with. And hopefully we'll get a lot more of the grindy stuff done, and preferably figure out how big a mansion is on this site. As I said, I have to figure out Structura. It's simple enough. I've watched a couple of videos that, yeah, it's got me convinced it's simple enough. I just haven't actually got to doing it, and it's one of those things that the very first time I do it, I want to do it with a tutorial by my side, so doing it live on screen is not exactly ideal. Anytime! You know, I'm going to miss your streams, because they'll actually be at a decent hour for me when we're overseas, but then we'll probably be doing stuff, which, yeah, it's always a challenge to get both worked in. I'm coming over for food and to ditch some of the excess. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. These need to be those. Okay, that added up right. Good stuff. So this one is going to be forever more messed up. And the reason for that is that every time I turn my back, the rail that's actually underneath the berries fails. It gets stuck on a wall or something on a corner. And it just occurred to me how dumb. I know why it's happening. In the short version, there's two versions of this, but the short version is, first off, one, that the tracks, weirdly enough, they actually, when it goes around the corner, if the outer one is coming by at the same time, they'll clip each other. So simply taking a block out of the inside isn't going to help. The outside one seems to have no problem, but the inside one, yeah, every time they touch, it gets hung up. But the outside one is the one I find more critical, because most of the stuff that drops just on the outside of the berries, so we'll just go with it. You know, I can always... Oh, shush. I can always refix it when I get back. You can see that I've been trying to work a little bit on the flooring. It's loud, and it's going to stay loud just because I can do it that way. Not sure what that was about, but thank you very, very much, Scrublord. I appreciate that. So that was 2 gifts to the community, and it looks like the receivers are Arch Thunder and Grief. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that so much. Wow. Okay. Oops. So I have more reasons to think about what I'm going to do with the funds. At the moment, I've got them tucked away in a US funds account and haven't done anything much with them. Reason for that is that I want to work a little bit on branding, think about that while I'm away, maybe discuss with some others, and see about what I can possibly do to get things going better. Okay, carrots. Here. Give me lots of carrots. Oh, whoops. Duh. I want this. There we go. That'll work. And you're sold out. That's okay. Let's take this one. Do you have carrots? I think you do. You have carrots. I have a hype train. Wow. Okay. And thank you, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, for giving a sub to Dibble Shrugs. Awesome. Oh, and you've hit your 25 sub point in the channel. I don't know if I have a sub picture for that, like a sub gifter thingamajig for that, but if I don't, I should. Let's put these up here. All right, so you can see here we're slowly getting our guys sorted out. The signs up top are just, I wanted them all across the bottom, and they will eventually be all across the bottom, but the reason that they are up top and they tend to end up top of my worlds, like I give up with them, is because when you've got little villagers running around, they love to run up and over these or in the cracks in the sides and hang out with the other librarians, which means then they end up growing up and getting stuck. So that's where I end up trying to figure out which librarian belongs where. It's always a challenge. Okay, I've got carrots. Wow, and we're already to Geek Out, which says 2 titles in which the narrator dies. That's a different one. Okay. Bit dark. Dark way to start. All right. See, I'm still very, very excited about doing the Woodland Mansion remake. However, as you guys can see, from one side of the water to the other side of the water, the island may be too narrow, so there'll be probably some terraforming involved to first off flatten out part of it. That gives me the materials to then go and terraform some of the rest. I may not be able to fully fill in all the sections I like, but at least we'll get ourselves a floating island. And I do intend to try and retain some sort of river. So yeah, we got a little bit of work to do. I went over there to drop off blocks and I brought them with. That's kind of silly. Let's actually do what we meant to do. So Fantastic Sherlock Fox is debating whether he mows the lawn now at 30 degrees outside, or you sneak out of work tomorrow and mow it in the morning when it's cooler. Honestly, I'd say mow it in the morning because
hello there.
It would actually probably be better for the lawn as well, so that it's not having an exposed edge of the grass in this heat. That's just my take on it, but yeah, your mileage may vary. Oak, oak, oak. Take that. Mangrove? No, I don't need that. Hello, James. Working and lurking? Well, thank you very much for spending the time to drop by. I appreciate it. Let's see, what's this? Okay. And I needed to drop off the flesh, because that's for somebody else. Black. Anything else useful here? Not particularly. Oh right, okay, sharpness, efficiency was 2. Sharpness 2, efficiency 2. Okay, do I have... I'm assuming I don't have the levels to combine those, but let's see. Oh, not bad. Okay, so that's 19, but if I flip them around... 37, nope. Not happening. 19 I can take. Because we're going to be doing a lot of chopping. What else have we got? Looting. Do I have that on here? No. Sharpness 5. What was that for? And Unbreaking 3. I was holding and Unbreaking 3 for something. Because the only one is Sharpness 5, I think was for the axe. Can't recall. For the pickaxe. I think the looting's for the sword. But I certainly don't have the what do you call it? Levels now. I can guarantee that. Yeah, 13, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. But that's okay. We have what we need to get a little faster. That's the key. Don't go crazy, everybody. You're being generous. Yeah, it's weird. I have a high train level 2 already. We're 16% in. I'm seriously blown away. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it so much. So I do definitely have a full-on intention to keep on working on this one, and hopefully have something to show for it by the time we get back. I know there's been a lot of prep for this and prep for that. So hopefully in my 2.5 weeks away between airline time and downtime, that I will be doing a little bit more grinding. If I can get Fantastic Sherlock Fox's Microsoft Surface to let me connect to the Java server, then we'll be doing a lot of that work grindy over there. Otherwise, we'll have a whole lot more grinding going on in this one. And so hopefully we'll get ourselves rolling. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and steal all the relevant project wood out of here, just so I can keep track of where things are. So we're going to be using cherry planks on the floors inside. And then of course there'll be a ton of jungle going various different places. Now I know we've got other woods inside of a in English. I know we've got tons of other woods inside of a woodland mansion. Like you may find a bunch of, I've seen oak fencing and such. But I'm thinking some of the places in there that we can reuse will be really helpful. So I'm going to start with a cherry bottom row. Actually, let's start up here. So I'll start with the cherry top row up here. And then let's start that way. Which I guess don't really need to split those. And then jungle down on this end, because we'll probably end up with more jungle by the time we're done. The narrators were the American Beauty and Sixth Sense. I'd forgotten the guy kicks the bucket in American Beauty. Sorry about that. Yeah, I missed that. So we got 2 titles. Okay, Geek Out. Next. Choice. Lovely. 2 songs by Aerosmith. Wahoo! Somebody can probably help me with that one. So many good people, but books are harder to find. Very, very confused. That's okay. 2, yeah, it was movies, but we were talking about titles of books, and I can't think of many other than the novelizations of the movies you mentioned. So we just moved on. Yes. Sure you were thinking literature as it actually asked for. Okay. Do I have... I do. Perfect. Is there anything on the go that needed to be smelted? No? Okay, that's good. Okay, or not. I know where my first bucket of stuff is going. I'm trying to keep on top of this because I don't have enough pieces to expand the lava farm at this point in time. I'm just trying to catch up the back of... Oh, is that maybe behind a sec? This side. There we go. That. Alright, and we have eggs, so we can do predictions if we need them. Okay, so we have eggs. Why is it glass? Well, I'd rather have the whole thing glass if I could to see into the piece. I cannot for the life of me remember what I used to do where I didn't end up having... like I used to be able to do it with trapdoors on the sides, but I can't for the life of me remember what I did. I know it wouldn't work as well with this particular design because the other one goes down under the ground. This one comes up and over. It's a little different. And this one's not yet making food on purpose because I wanted to fill up the egg crate first. Okay, I think that's it for my blathering. Let's go chop a tree. Nope, actually that's not what I wanted to do. For now, let's redo these. I know I'm squirreling to start with. There's always squirreling. But extra food is always a bonus, particularly when you're in a world where you're by yourself. Pardon me. And I also made a mistake here and put trapdoors on the top, which works fine for lanterns and such. Not so good for being able to replant easily. It should have been a slab, and I didn't think about that. Yeah, good thing we didn't chop first. We have a few potatoes. Okay, and then this one, I'm gonna redo it anyways, so let's just tear it all up. Now, originally I wanted monoculture fields, but I think I'm going to try... Just about everything I read these days is reminding me that I probably should have mixed the various different foods in the various fields. So had I thought about that, I wouldn't have this center section down in the middle. Actually, why don't I just take that out? That's easy as pie. Yeah, I could use one more corner around here anyways. Okay, so some more squirrel. Let's take these out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to have to clear out the water. Come on. Dirt. There we go. This one. All right. Oh, whoops. A little overzealous. It's raining. It would be raining, wouldn't it? That's odd. I don't know why I'm short 2. Oh, there's the other 2. There we go. You would. Of course, crazy weather, you would. Yep, that's fine. Whoa, buddy. Big hike. Thank you. No touch. Sure. Okay. I know our front yard could handle it. Because we've got a rather overzealous neighbor who's going to be taking care of the watering for us while we're away. So, yeah. I find the story kind of funny that Fantastic Shock Fox told me about our next door neighbor has offered to water our lawn while we're away, and I suspect he'll probably take care of the mowing too, which means we'll have to let it grow when we get back. Because he's one of those guys who wants a nice lawn, but at the same time he also wants to have it so short that the people who do the fertilizer and stuff keep saying, and the city keeps saying, grow it longer, grow it longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So when we get back, we're gonna have to let it grow a little bit more. But on the other hand, he waters it to within an inch of its life. So yes, you win some, you lose some. Okay, so what I wanted to do is let's start with the wheat seeds, then we'll alternate with potatoes. Why is there always a gap? That's why it should be a slab. And more wheat on the outside. Okay, that's that. Let's get the potatoes rolling. And truth be told, if it was 9, I should probably be bringing the carrots in too, and doing 3, 1, 2, 3 of each. That would make, lots of sense, but fortune and all that, I don't really care. If 2 will work better than 1 monoculture row, that's what I'm going with. All right. And I want to keep the potatoes. I'll just throw them at the bottom. I want to keep the wheat. It's one of those I can't be bothered to go and put things away right now. I guess I should. Yeah, I've got extra stuff. Okay, let me get these tossed away. More squirrel! Nope. Oh, where does the oak live? Seriously? I'm gonna have to label stuff because I can't find a thing in here. Okay. It made sense when I started, but it never makes sense for more than 10 minutes long term. That one. And I guess goes over here, I guess. Oh, I'm still carrying around these stupid rotten flesh. There, let's put those over here. That looks like everything's sane. Sort of. We're gonna end up with a gazillion sticks. Let's put the sticks in here for now. Alright. Oh, huh. That's where all that stuff goes. There we go. Close enough. Let's go chop trees. Okay, do we have one? No. Don't have a spot that's going all the way up, so let's just see if we can build all the way up. Come on. Okay, so now we're at the top. And Fantastic Shock Fox is switching to mobile. Yep, that's fair. So I purposely have not done a whole lot of looking into touristy things to do in Ireland, and the reason for that is that we're partly going to visit family, but also that they've got their idea of what they want to show us and what they want our kids to see. So I figure I'm going to sort of let them guide, and I also suspect Fantastic Shock Box has done a little bit of looking to see what it is we should be seeing and should be doing. Part of that, I'm assuming, is there's a couple of places that the Fox knows already knows that I want to see, places like Trinity College and that sort of thing. But aside from that, I'm just going with the flow. All I really need, for lack of a better term, is I need out of Dodge. We all need out of Dodge. It's great to live in a prairie place for a while, but sometimes when it gets to be late summer or midsummer, sometimes it gets to be so hot, so samey, and you just need a change of scene at times. And rather than having kids complaining, it'll be nice to have a bit of a change with a bit more oohing and aahing. So I'm hoping to be able to look forward to that. And it has just occurred to me I probably should break that down. Because I suspect that the tree doesn't want to grow so well with scaffolding nearby. Yep. There we go, close enough. So here's a question. If you were to be, I guess, deciding, this is going to sound weird, but deciding to use something like a Minecraft structure of your choice as your main base building, what would it be? You guys have already heard what my choice would be. And that's a pretty clear assumption. You can either build it from scratch or clear out all the mobs. Okay? But if you could use any biome, any structure to base it off of, what would it be? Now, if you've already done it, I'd like to hear what you've already done, and if you were to do it over again, would you use the same one or would you use a different one? So that's my question. One of the things that I thought might be kind of fun over time is to consider bases that have different structures, basically being reused. I know some people build things with, inspiration from existing structures, so that's a possibility as well. I mean, obviously by the time one gets it to a usable state, it's not usually what's in game, because the ones in game are not designed to be used. For example, the fact that I've taken over a church to be my lava farm and such, not so super effective. And then whatever that was, I think it was supposed to be an armorers or butchers or something. But I took that over, and they're not designed for it, which is part of the reason why it doesn't work very well. It's not meant to be like that. I've thought about, for kicks actually at some point, having a base in a stronghold, but then there's an awful lot of darkness and caves that I have to clear out on a regular basis, and expanding becomes a problem. But that's just my skill level. It's not something that I can't do long term, it's just I'm not ready for. For those of you that were not available to see the stream I did earlier in the day, what I spent time doing was, first hour we were offing squid, and then making a ton of writable books, which in the second section, doing a lot of copy pasting, inspirational and positive quotes into these writable books, so that we could then move them into the chest for our, I was going to call him Wandering Trader, but he's not a Wandering Trader anymore. Still needs a name, so if anybody has any suggestions for names for that guy, I am all ears. I know he's just a few in stream and unfortunately promptly went like a sieve, in one side and out the other. So I need to work on finding a name, and I'll have to get a few from writing. Maybe once we've got a few ideas, if there's too many I like, we'll start a poll. Okay. Well, while these lovely little saplings are growing or clearing out their leaves, then I will take a bit of a detour. Give them a bit of a head start. Take a bit of a detour and go get those carrots, and then come back, see where we're at. I'm not sure if growing wheat this way is any faster, but it certainly looks better. To me, it's more visually interesting. So in the mansion, if I can get a mansion on here, that's a big if, then you can see we've got our fine camel friend. Well, he will probably end up in the section that would normally be like a cage match type zone with the big fences. They're in a lot of mansions, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do with him. Okay, where are we here? Here we go. All right. Jungle tree, you are done. Excellent. Let's get the carrots out. Maybe on the next round, I will slab these spaces. That's probably what I'm going to do. And possibly pick up the melons, I think. Not necessarily destroy the spaces yet for the melons, but pick them up. They look all weird, like they're all over the place, but they used to be around village structures. Yeah, let's not destroy that one yet. Go. 2, 1. What else have we got? So we've got songs by Aerosmith. Let's try another one. And I'm going to go through the question of the day and just take a quick look and see if the question of the day in our Discord was remotely interesting. Where did that one go? Nope. Okay, skipping that one. That's just a bizarre question. So let's go with the random question of the day, and we get, if you had a... Okay. If you had to hide a giraffe, where would you hide it? Yes. If you had a giraffe that you needed to hide, where would you hide it? Don't know about you, but I don't have any giraffes I need to hide. Somebody once told me they would hide their giraffe in a couch, which I thought was kind of cool. Not sure why you'd hide it in the couch and how you'd prevent it from sticking out. I mean, you could hide your giraffe in plain sight, I suppose. But I'm not sure what that would mean. Like, would it just be standing in the middle of your living room with the lampshade on its head? And here's another question. First off, what would you be doing with a giraffe in the first place? But they do talk about the elephant in the room. So would this be the giraffe in the room? You'd hide it in a herd of giraffes. Well, yeah, I guess that would be a good place to hide your giraffe, was in amongst the other giraffes. That would be kind of sensible, yes. I mean, I've never heard of hiding a giraffe. There's another one I hadn't really thought of. I wonder... I bet you it's probably a herd, because that's the one we tend to use most commonly. But I wonder if the plural for a group of giraffes is actually a herd, or if it's something else. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something bizarre like a lick of giraffes. Or maybe, I don't know, neck probably wouldn't work. Where's Creef when we need him? He might know this. Exactly. But I mean, I don't think Creef would be up. I'm assuming, let's see, in the UK we're looking at 1:45 in the morning, so I'm hoping in Pretoria or nearabouts that we're not anywhere near being up at this hour. I mean, if you've got insomnia, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Yeah, I'd like to ask Creef then, or anyone else, you know, if you had a giraffe, where would you hide it? Same thing, I guess we'd probably go the opposite direction. We talked about warm weather animals. You know, if you weren't hiding your giraffe, what if you had to hide a polar bear? Assuming it's not a Minecraft polar bear that just wants to do nothing but eat you. I mean, from what I heard, regular polar bears aren't that far off, though. Easy to anger and not exactly your best friend. But you could hide them in a herd of polar bears, which probably would work. Hide a giraffe in a snowstorm, maybe? You can hide a lot of different things in a snowstorm. Miss any others on this side? I think we're good. There's our tree. If I was to hide a giraffe, another fun place to hide it might be something ridiculous like a jazz bar. They seem to have all sorts of weird art. Somebody might just simply think that it's art. The key is, how do you get it to, I would say, how do you get it to be quiet, but that's probably not that much of an issue. How do you get it to stand still? Right? If your giraffe could stand still, you probably could just put a lampshade on its head and call it some sort of modern art. If it stands still long enough, you probably could even ask it to train it maybe to hold like an LED strip bulb in its mouth or something. Use it as a lamp. I guess since so many of those are battery operated these days, the lamps that is, not the giraffes. Battery operated giraffe. Not quite. But yeah, if he would stand still, then it might work. I mean, I guess another spot you could probably hide him in that case would be in some sort of neighborhood where, like any of the brick neighborhoods where the brick styles are not all exactly the same, where all the buildings don't look all cookie cutter. Then he might be able to blend into the skyline from human height. I guess another good place to easily hide a giraffe would be at the zoo. Might be odd if he wasn't in a pen, but letting others come and see him might actually be okay. This one down. Another question would be, I wonder what it would take to hide something at the zoo. Because it would be a really big giveaway if the person hiding the animal was not familiar with the best sort of animals to mix them with. Like, for example, our zoo mixes the space with the giraffes in with the hippopotami. Now, one you would think of as sort of a open space savanna type critter, and the other one you think of as more of a river thing. But they get along relatively well. And neither of them do you want to be within reach distance, because a giraffe might want to just hit you with its neck or its head. Apparently that's how they fight. But a hippo, on the other hand, he or she has a much more, how shall we say, messy approach. Because apparently hippos can go rotary with their tails, which is fine. It's just that what they do when they spin their tails rotary-wise is often tend to spray their mess all over the place. Yeah. So there's actually a sign at our zoo that more or less refers to the distance you don't want to be close to the hippos. So they have tried to put up the fencing in such a way that the hippos can't actually reach that far with their mess making. But unfortunately, you know, there's always going to be people that are stupid and try and reach over the railings to get a good picture and so forth. So I suspect that's probably got something to do with why there's also a sign. And I'm not keeping leaves at this time. Certainly don't need this many jungle saplings. It's still dropping. Okay, that's good. Oh, I was gonna say, in one of these piles I had 40 scaffolding, and I no longer have 40 scaffolding because they're still up on the tree. That's okay. Go for the next round. Two Zac Efron films. Oh. Can somebody name any character Zac Efron's played? Because I can't tell you what films he's been in, since I'm not familiar with those characters. Is he the one that did The Social Network? I can't recall on that. I don't think I saw that one. I'm not a huge fan of Zuckerberg, and so any faux biopic really didn't turn my crank of interest. But it sounds like the sort of thing that you might have Zac Efron in. With a name like that, anyways. Though honestly, if it hadn't been him, I would not have been surprised if The Social Network ended up having like Tom Holland in it. He's got the look. I don't think he's got the personality that would actually play those characters very well. But I think he's got the look. Which might be an insult to Tom Holland because I'm not a huge fan of Zuckerberg anyway. I saw a meme the other day. I'm not hugely into... Well, okay, that's not true. Who isn't into memes in some way, shape, or form? But I saw a meme the other day of... for those of you that are familiar with Monty Python and the Dead Parrot sketch, there was one for the supposed death of Twitter. So they had the Dead Twitter sketch, and John Cleese's position in one of the shots, like it was a still, and they had John Cleese's, arm and body and whatever holding up a parrot cage, and there is a picture of the Twitter logo on its back with a big X through its eye, and whoever had created it had posted Elon Musk's face over top of John Cleese's face. And they still have Eric Idle standing there, telling him that, well, it was alive when you bought it. And I loved that one because I just couldn't get over laughing at it. Oh, right, it was. While Twitter may have been a hot mess, it's gone from dumpster fire to landfill fire over the course of the time that Elon Musk has had it. Alright, what did I say I was going to do next time there was a pause? Slabbing the farm, right? Right. If we need to, we can cut that one down, but I'm not as fussed about the mangrove at the moment. I wanted red, but I think I'm going to go with the cherry flooring with jungle walls. I think that was what I was going with for the mansion, just to make it brighter inside. I may actually use mangrove flooring in lieu of carpets, we'll see, but it's not critical. Lawn done. I could hear part of that, but I don't think it would have come through on camera. People have told me in the past that they don't hear the lawnmower and they don't hear when the fertilizer guy comes through, which is nice. Ah, so did you temporarily give the lawn watering neighbor permission to water both lawns? My mom's going to try and help out with some of the indoor watering, and she wanted to know if she had to do the outdoor watering as well, so I said I'd check with Fantastic Sherlock Fox first and then let her know. Oh, that's where the sticks went. What did I was coming here for something? Slabbing, right, yes. It's 2. Let's go with these ones, because I got 60. That's plenty. Feel very frenetic, even though I'm not doing a whole lot productive at the moment. Torches. But I've got an E-torch, that'll work. So that's middle. He might have dealt with the weeds. Yeah, this is a bit of a weird neighbor. He stands on his front porch and smokes and wants his front yard to look good. But his part of the logic that was passed on to me about why he wants to water our lawn for us is actually because, I don't know if we were overwatering onto his space or something. I'm not quite sure the whole story, but it was sort of odd.
Hello there.
And yet he's the guy who has twice accidentally mowed over his wife's flowers because they planted them alongside their driveway with no fencing whatsoever. So I'm not really sure. Owl Poppins, welcome on in. I'm not sure it was really all that odd a time. There really wouldn't be a better one. We were talking about our next door neighbor being an unusual individual who wants to water our lawn for us because he wants his lawn to look good. Somehow that follows. I don't know. What have we got? Dripstone. Ha! Ha! Okay, when I didn't have the emeralds with me. That's life. I might actually have to do that. We'll see. Are these... Okay, color me impressed. I did not think things would move this quickly. So I guess things do grow faster when you've got alternating rows. I never believed it till now. I just like the aesthetic of matching fields. And usually by the time I've got gold carrots, I don't really care. But I'm still early enough game. This isn't for food. It's for like hay bales and such. And if I wanted other food, I could actually also do pigs. Not pigs, sorry. Sheep farm. But that wouldn't go very well with my daughter, so I figured it wasn't necessary and wasn't doing it. Okay, so over here we have a big enough space with the water, the way it hangs out. If we need to terraform the land larger to be able to accommodate, then we could probably pull up a lot of this sand for glass and replace with dirt and just go out over this section of the water further. Puts a bit of a kink in the plan I had for putting a mob farm over water, but we'll worry about that later. I'd like to have a base that's actually a base of sorts, rather than a conglomeration of a couple different things going on at the same time. We have neighbors that mow a lot, and I tend to mow it right before it looks like a violation. I doubt it. I don't think you would let it go that long. On the other hand, you're also further out in the country. We're just on the southern edge of the city, so until recently it didn't matter all that much. You could say, not a big deal. Construction guys never mow. But now we're actually at a point where we need to actually do that. Or actually mow our lawn and care. Care, yes, care. That's what it was, right. But a lot of it actually is I wouldn't say you've gotten to a violation point. There are some that are right saved from violation by some of the odd companies you read about on the internet who just go and mow for free because they're nice people. And I suspect you probably wouldn't let it get that far. But yeah, letting it grow out helps it fill out. Exactly. Ours, unfortunately, in the front at least, is quite prone to mushrooms. We have some in the back. It's not as bad as it used to be. But it used to be pretty rough. Oh, aha. There we go. We have a spot in the back where it's supposed to be like a cement drainage ditch of sorts between the yards. And so it stays pretty wet. Oh, there goes the other one. Okay. It stays fairly wet, so we don't worry too much about it, but it definitely grows mushrooms. And so we tried seeding it in, see if we can help kill out some of the mushrooms. It was getting kind of mushy and sparse. What had happened was a few years ago, we decided we were going to put in a patio, but mistakes were made, ours and the people we hired afterwards. We finished the project because we got too overwhelmed. But mistakes were made, and basically the dirt was left far too long on top of the soil in that area of the yard, so it killed off the grass, and we had a hard time getting it to naturally spread over there. So we eventually just had to try seeding it, which is, now that it's taken, it's great. But for a long time we actually had mushrooms and all kinds of stuff in there. The other thing is that no matter how many times you tell people, there are always plenty of people in the city who insist on mixing their their weeds, yes, that's the word I'm looking for, in with their lawn clippings when they go to put them in the compost system. Which is not great, because of course the seeds survive. And when that's the case, then you end up with far less than ideal city-provided mulch coming around. So we just don't use the city stuff. But it would have been nice, because the city tends to give it away for dirt cheap and or free, which is really, really nice. And that's what they put on parks. Well, the thing is, if it's full of seeds and you're putting it on the park land, like the city park areas, then of course you're going to get more weeds, which then do what? Because the city can't or doesn't do weed control all year round. And we get the weeds back, which blow into everybody's yard and rinse and repeat. So, yeah. It's not the get off my lawn per se, it's the keep your weeds out of my lawn, please. We also have a few around here who are the whole wildflowers kind of people. And I don't necessarily mean the packs of wildflowers, thank heavens. Those are far too prominent these days. But the ones who try to keep their yard as quote-unquote natural as possible by having more natural grasses and such, and I'm not really sure what they expect out of that, because they can't get a lawn that's like soft to walk on in bare feet. It's just not one of those things that's ever going to happen with the native grasses around here. And I shouldn't be cranky about it, but I think I've inherited some of my mother's allergy to grass seeds and grass pollens, so not too impressed. Thankfully I didn't get it as badly as she did. Poor lady. The reason I feel sorry for her is because she grew up on a farm, and it was actually allergic to the pollens and stuff enough that it posed a problem when her family grows wheat. They try to get her help with the hay bales and stuff, and she'd totally turn out in hives. Yeah, exactly. Fantastic Sherlock Fox says, I'd rather mow more often than burn the lawn. Well, that's actually what we're doing, though. I mean, you mow less often, and you don't burn the lawn. You mow more often, and the lawn gets burnt and dried out, and you need to water it far more, in which case you're fertilizing far more because it can't retain that. It just gets round and around circles. But it's kind of funny because aside from, we've got one lawn company which is great, and I'd like to continue with them. And then we've had our family, extended families, had a different lawn company for a while that people know them for doing ads on the side of the hill on the highways, where they'll put their, you know, fertilizer stuff on and some of their weed kill stuff on and leave like ads in the lawn or in the grass on the highway side, which is all well and good, except that it... Oh, do I have two? There we go. Except that in our family, that doesn't help because only one of the two of us can actually see them. Not throwing anybody under a bus on that one. But only one of the two of us can actually see those ads due to colorblind issues. And the other one thinks they're the dumbest way of advertising known to man because you're putting ads for city services out on the highway that heads out towards the wild mountain areas. These days, when people have trouble getting out of Dodge because either they can't afford a vehicle or they're just too busy working hours to make ends meet, you're not going to have very much luck, I don't think, advertising along the side of a highway to, like, recreation areas. Maybe. I mean, on the other hand, those that have to work extra hours to make ends meet are probably also the ones who have to, who are not buying the services anyways just because they don't have the funds and they're spending their own time trying to deal with weeds without those additional assists. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Nope. Very... Oh, there must... Yep. I was gonna say, there must be a block in the other side. And sure enough, I left a block. Oops. That's why, because I fell over the edge. The sod died. You've... I don't know if they're classified as trees. I have lovely looking well-kept weeds in my yard. The sod died. It happens. I mean, you could say your yard's gone wild. You're into the wild grasses now. Right? You're helping the alfalfa population. Okay. This one. Let's do a drop off and see what we can get. When we put in a garden box, we gave the sod we lifted up to the neighbor. He loves his lawn, but his visiting mother got rid of weeds in his yard using Roundup in a very wide spray. Yes. Yeah, not exactly the world's smartest move there. It wasn't just a very wide spray. It wasn't just that, but I'm under the impression, if this is the neighbor I'm thinking of, then his mother doesn't actually speak English all that well, so she probably could not have read the container. Should have, but probably could not have read the instructions on the container all that much to talk about broadleaf weeds. Either that or took weeds way too literally. Which, I mean, a weed is one of those things that, you know, it's any plant you don't want growing where it's growing. Really. Yep, definitely faster. But there's not much point in mucking around. Maybe I'll get the carrots in there. Why not? Let's redo it one more time. Then I can get the carrot patch involved as well. You can always trade them for more emeralds, right? So even if our sod had weeds in it, it's probably better off than the neighbor's mom being overzealous. Plenty. Actually, I guess I'm gonna get potatoes out of that last one. Hey JF Bird Blue, how you doing? How you doing? I'm hanging out today on my Bedrock solo world. Putzing around a little bit because I want to build... I'm still, even though the island doesn't look like it's big enough. I'm still on this bent where I decided I wanted to build a woodland mansion, except do the whole thing out of, like, one of the natural spawn style, except build the whole thing out of cherry and jungle wood for the majority of it, with some mangrove if need be, and at some point maybe go get some crimson to work into that. But need a huge amount of blocks to be able to do that, so we're still chopping a lot. And the other part is I was going to try and get the structure figured out on how to do that, like to get that structure laid out. Unfortunately, I have no clue how to do it, so I'm doing it. I watched a couple tutorials. It's not horribly bad, but it's not idiot simple either. Therefore, it's a bit of a slow go for me to figure it out, and I wouldn't be able to do it live on screen. So, Fantastic Shock Fox beat me to the question, but for those of you whose day has wrapped up because you're east of us, it's now 10 after 6 for us. So, those of you who are east, how was your day? Hopefully it went well. And our weird question of the day that's floating around on screen, but I'm quite curious to know everybody's answer to. If you had to hide a giraffe, where would you hide your giraffe? So there you go. If you were hiding a giraffe, where would you hide your giraffe? You did lurk. Excellent. Yeah, the earlier stream, we still have a lot of books to go, but at least I've got enough basic content out of the book collection that we've got a few. So it may not hold for 2.5 weeks, but it'll hold for long enough that I can get more ideas put through. Go. That's one down. Carrots on this one. Let's make it easier. 1, 2, carrots again. 1, 2, carrots again. There we go. And let's go with potatoes next? Sure. Alright. So we've got some good ones. I was actually having a conversation with my son a little bit about knowing that when I'm doing this thing, it's kind of a fortune teller, it's kind of not. I'm filling it with sort of like positive inspirational quotes at the moment, for lack of being able to come up with ideas easily regarding regarding fortunes. There's a whole bunch, but I did find a website that I can nick a bunch of stuff from. But mostly it's motivational quotes kind of thing, as opposed to actual cheesy fortune cookie fortunes. But there was also some that are just silly ones. Like, your fortune is, help, I'm stuck in this fortune cookie factory. Well, yeah, that doesn't work for what we were doing. So, there's a little bit of silliness that had to be avoided. And then there's also quotes from individuals that I would probably get a backlash for supporting, so I'm just going to skip those quotes altogether. But I have... far fewer wheat than I'd expected. It's a shame. Oh well. It is what it is. Geek Out has been switched. Geek Out is now looking at 2 literature titles in which a character is an assassin. So I will call what is that one called? The Game of Thrones series, the something Ice and Fire. But yeah, because we have at least one assassin character. I thought I had growth. Okay, I guess I don't know growth. Song of Ice and Fire? Hey, Connor, how are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome back. Anything? Yeah, if Fantastic Shock Fox can think of any others, that would be great. But we can also open it up to chat. So the way this works is just literally we've got people with ideas on screen. The Geek Out is one where if we were playing it as a physical game, which is where these come from, this is the Geek Out Pop Culture version. And then the idea behind it is if we were playing it as a physical game, one would be wagering points to say, 600, well, not 600, it's like, I guess, whatever format it's in. But small quantity points says that I can reach the goal listed on screen or can exceed it, and whoever figures that they can reach or exceed, then they will bet that they can do it. If they can't, they lose their points. If they can, they gain points and a bonus, and there's some pluses and minus stuff going on in the middle. For the purposes of our stream, we're just using the categories to see if, as a group in chat, we can meet or exceed the target specified. It doesn't have to be any one person, we can even work together on it. Just a little bit of conversation point. Just playing some Minecraft and watching some streams. So, Jiv, what is it that you're doing in your Minecraft world today? What anyone else been working in their worlds, and what have you been working on? I know that there's a few different projects going on some of the Bedrock community stuff, as well as some of the other communities that our viewership is involved in. And I'm always curious to be reminded of who's doing what where, because I forget really easily. And it makes it difficult to pick up conversations where we left off if I forget like that. Bourne series. Oh yeah, I guess. Jason Bourne series. Sure. That would definitely have an assassin in it. Guaranteed. You're on Slackville trying to come up with a mythical build. Oh, okay, yep. At the exact moment on Birdpire building my storage filter system. Birdpire, ooh. Do tell, do you have a theme going this season for Birdpire? I know the mythical builds on Slackville are like a monthly challenge thing. Hunger Games sort of hasn't, well, okay, yes, I guess technically everybody who's actually stuck in the game is an assassin of sorts. Unless that's not what you mean. And I just noticed my XP bar is all messed up. Oh well. Okay, so those two are there, and none of my jungle has grown yet. I guess we're going to bone meal a few of these. Oh, I see, yes. It sounds a little bit... I hadn't read the Hunger Games series, so people have to forgive me if I'm completely off base. But isn't the Hunger Games also one where, like, the characters in there sort of... They understand... They understand the reason why the games exist, and they're sort of on board with it. They don't really have a whole lot of choice, but they're kind of on board with it, because their world needs that. But for Birdpire, I'm going to build a wizardry university and have some clerics at top level walking from tower to tower, going to be out of Deep Slate and Blackstone. Ooh, that sounds really, really cool. Huh. Okay, well, I'll just let them do their thing then. See, I know you've explained it to me before, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, so we'll cover it at some point again. It makes me wonder why there wasn't some sort of side story with an attempt, or at least there didn't appear to be in most conversations, a side story involving the major characters trying to take out those that are running the entire set of games in the first place. Yeah, so I guess so they're supposed to do it as a reminder, I'm not sure what of, but as an entertainment for the wealthy. Well, yeah, you'd think they would want to take out the wealthy. A lot of books are like that, though, where the characters predictably want to get rid of the wealthy that are running these stupid games for their own amusement and entertainment. And then maybe that's I don't know. Maybe it's just been done to death. Who knows? I have not read a proper book in quite a long time. I've got so many that are like partially on the go that I really do need to sit down and actually read a book. That said, you know, there's never enough time in the day for everything. And I don't think necessarily reading should always be put aside, but it works right now because I'm spending a lot of time. There's not enough time to watch all the material I want to watch either, or learn all the things I want to do. I haven't knit in ages, and I want to do that as well, and there's just too much. And it's so easy to squirrel doing all kinds of things because I say, oh, well, I want to catch up on, you know, those YouTube playlists I've been setting aside for weeks. And what do I end up doing? I get onto YouTube and I get caught by the clickbait squirreling of the you know, 50 acts of kindness that will make you cry kind of thing. It's like, I can't believe I'm such a ridiculous sucker for these. Every once in a while there's some really good ones in those, but most of the time the compilations are really stupid. And some of them are really reaching. He says, isn't it also a punishment for the rebellion generations ago? Those kinds of, yeah, the punishment for stuff that happened generations ago kind of thing, to me is, I'm hoping it's meant as a commentary, because, yeah, I've never been a fan of that, but... Oh yeah, it's very, very effective. Oh, well, that was super short. Well, then I'll go down this next hole, and I'll go down this next hole. I mean, I think I spent, one afternoon I spent, I don't know, over an hour, I think it was, when I said, oh, I'm catching up on my YouTube videos. That was the plan, you know, streaming tips and stuff to do with Minecraft. And, instead, I think, what I watched? I think I watched about 15 or 20 different videos on, people tier ranking the worst tornadoes in their state. Why did I watch that? I have no clue. It was there, it was clickbaity, and yeah. It was really odd. Like, who would think of that? I don't know, it's not one of those things I don't get a whole lot of that sort of weather in my province, so it's not something that would really easily occur to me, but it's one of those ones that I never would have thought of. And yet, it's proof. They say in the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. I mean, social media and things like video sites, YouTube and so forth these days are also the other version. If you record it and post it, people will watch. Just about anything and everything, people will watch. You know, I'd like to try and be high and mighty and say that I'm above that, but we all know it's not true. I caught myself the other day actually reading through what should be considered spam. Emails trying to get me to sign up for a service that was supposed to help me get search engine optimization and viewership optimization on my YouTube videos. Including that they said, even if you don't have proper videos, that this thing was supposed to be able to scan your stream VODs and then tell you which parts of your VODs are worth turning into shorts. Even if you're playing management games. Which is unusual because most of the services like that, they're fine if you've got, you know, Call of Duty or you're playing like, I don't know, let's say Valorant or something, or even Valheim, stuff like that, right? But if you're playing a management game or playing Minecraft in a much slower format, something like that, they usually won't cover it. Because there's nothing, I shouldn't say nothing, it's much harder to find the clips worth showing. And so they can't just easily stick a computer on it and call it a day, you know? Because they could look for scan video for keywords that'll pop up on the screen, like, you have died! Sorry! You know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I caught myself reading spam on that the other day. And they're like, here's your tool to make really quick and easy thumbnails. and then they make you, like, well, not make you, they walk you through all sorts of steps to do it, which might explain part of why half the world's thumbnails look the same and the rest of us just don't care. I shouldn't say half. Half look the same. Half of the remaining half, so a quarter, of people actually put an effort into their thumbnails, and then the remaining quarter doesn't care. There we go. Yeah. Let's see. J.F. Birdblue's reading a series called Arc of the Scythe. The lead characters are, in a way, assassins. They also help keep down the world's population because in the series, people can live forever. Ooh. It does sound interesting. Though that one, what I want to know about that series is what genre would you say it's in? The reason I say that is because sometimes, depending on the genre, I may or may not be into that kind of stuff myself. The general rule of thumb, though, on the whole, is if it's something that Fantastic Sherlock Fox is interested in, I won't be, or vice versa. It's not that we won't read the same books, but by and large, we're not interested in the same types of things. We're aware of each other's material, but generally don't read it. So, oh, timing. That was perfect. Neil Schusterman. If you get stuck Fantastic Sherlock Fox and have trouble getting that written down to look up, just let me know. I can pull it from the logs. I have chat logs. That was one of the first things I wanted to have when I started putting together a bot other than Stream Elements, is I wanted one that would be able to scrape my chat and turn it into logs, because I feel it's a bit more of a safety feature. It also allows me to find funny spots because it's all timestamped logs, so it helps me a little bit more to find funny spots in my streams to, in theory, make shorts out of. You can tell by my excitement over the idea how many shorts I've made to date. So yeah, a lot of it was great in principle, it's great in idea, but it didn't actually end up happening just because I'm lazy. And I'll be aware of that. Okay, so we're having a King of the Hill has been triggered, which join, exclamation point join if you want to be in on this one. And it looks like we have, so far, what do we have? We have James in, and Scrublord is in, and JF Birdblue's in. Fantastic Sherlock Fox is in. Ooh, is it rigged for Fox? Let's see. I'd like to see the rotation spread a little wider, but even so, last time Fantastic Sherlock Fox won, I believe it was with using the teapot. How very, very British. Oh, speaking of British, we had a little bit of fun the other night, the Fox and I, watching some YouTube in the evening, and one of the videos we watched, a couple of them actually, were where a couple of British guys had hooked up with a public school, I think? Yeah. I think it was a public school. Anyway, but they had kids, teens from the school, looking at memes that other parts of the world have written about British people, and they were asking them how accurate these memes were. And some of them were really quite funny because we catch on to them, but the Brits were like, no, this is dumb. And they couldn't even read, they couldn't even understand what some of them were. And it was interesting to see how many of the memes the kids would say, no, this is totally not accurate, there's no way at all. And yet they're doing exactly what was being joked about in the meme. Biggest flaw in the whole video set, though, was that they picked a bunch of kids who have posher accents than the accent being mocked in the meme. So of course it's, no, we don't talk like that. There's no way we say stuff like that. And that doesn't help because they're making fun of, say, Cockney accents or Brummie accents or different other ones, and yet they were talking to kids who had none of those. But then those kids couldn't even do BBC English either. The stereotypically very posh sounding accent that's supposed to be universal enough that everybody can understand it when they watch the news. But it was kind of amusing to watch that. And then there was one spot in there where they were listing the days of the week, because supposedly the Brits say it differently than other people do. And we hear a lot of Tuesday, which they were spelling in the meme as CHEW, so Tuesday. And one kid was sitting there and he's like, yeah? How else do you say it? And I thought the idea of Tuesday was really, really weird. Okay. Why isn't this one... Fine. That one doesn't want to grow there, then we'll move it. Will you grow... So will you grow over here, but I'm not sure I want that. Can we get 2 of them in here? This little island thing? Okay, we'll put one there and just see what it does. Alright, so the crops are definitely growing faster by being mixed together. That was a good move to change it, but it feels weird now that they're growing as quick as they are. What have we got? Not quite ready to turn on the chicken cooker, but we'll be soon. Give that another minute or 2 for it to do its own thing. Let's get rid of a few extra saplings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I need 8. Go. 2. These melons are certainly doing okay on their own. Alright, what have we got here? So, once again, hypothetical future dystopian, probably more of a Fox thing than mine, but that doesn't necessarily write it off completely. Enter the hill is James! Ah, using the frying pan. So much for future. We've got a Tangled style win. Awesome. Frying pan probably would be rather effective, all said and done. I don't know about you, but I don't think I really want to be hit by a frying pan. Okay, do we have any tree growth? That's not being very effective. Alright. Am I getting any... Oops, where am I here? Need bone meal. I have 18 blocks. I just don't want to waste it if I don't have to. These ones are almost clear. Let's try... Where's the sun? Going. Going which way? That way? Weird, I thought it was this way. Oh, the clouds are going that way. Okay. So the sun's just kind of not really going much of anywhere. Yeah. Okay, so it's pretty noon. The sun's going that way, which means east, north, that way. Oh. I was going to try and figure out which one was the north to bone meal, but I guess I don't have to. The tree just decided it for me. Sure, I'll take that. One of my favorite scenes in Tangled towards the end is when you see, after you hear the experiences that the princess had, then the new army are all issued with frying pans as their weapon of choice, and I thought that was kind of cute. So I was thinking, for our trip, I had said to our kids that I was going to pick a film or two that I had seen, or like a few, that I could make a list out of, and then at some point they could pick from the list, and they would have to see one film from that list that I make up. So I was thinking, initially I was starting with Disney films, but there's other ones. As a kid who grew up through the 80s and 90s, there's my age, then I've got a good selection to pick from. But I also like old films too. And it just turned out there's a lot of things where we make pop culture references to in our house that the kids just have no clue. And I was just kind of thinking, if you were to be introducing the younger generation to film or television from, I guess, back in our day, what would be some of the media you would choose? I've tried, just for curiosity's sake, I've tried things like Carol Burnett for kicks. They're not going to get that on their list because I know that's not necessarily their favorite, but also that I've done that recently, so I'm kind of evil. There's also things that they're slightly offended by, which and they don't find funny. Some of it has to do with things you can't really say on television anymore. And then there's things that are just so mild that people don't understand why it's funny because we have worse on TV these days. Yeah, like I've never seen any actual Pokemon. That's a good example right there. So the turnaround is that they get to choose stuff they would like to show me, which I already have an idea for my daughter. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get watching some AFMAO videos. Not high on my list, but hey, I already sat through, a couple years ago, I already sat through a My Little Pony movie. So if I can handle that when it's not my thing, I guess I can handle AFMAO. Our kids tried to get into the show. They weren't into any of the, they liked collecting the Pokemon. They like Pokemon Go quite a lot. They're not addicted to it, but they do quite like it a lot. They got into Pokemon cards for a while, but they like the game aspect of it more than the specific content of the game. There's some real classics that I wanted to expose them to at one point, but the classics have been remade into modern movies, and they're not into the classic stuff. They want to see the modern version, and so personally, I didn't like some of the modern versions. Case in point, as cheesy as it is, I kind of got interested a little bit in classic Speed Racer, but then when they redid the movie, I actually don't like the modern movie. It really to me, didn't have the feel that the old stuff had. Things like, before it got all grown-uppy and inappropriate, I actually would have been a fan of potentially showing them classic Thunderbirds. That was something that I remember watching the reruns or the syndication of as a kid, and quite enjoyed that, because it's cheesy, it's puppets, but back then it was safe, whereas they added a lot of adult innuendo stuff to it when they did that as a movie, so I was not a fan of that change. No, I have not actually seen any Pokemon. Our kids tried to watch it, and they didn't like Digimon or Dragon Ball Z either. No, my house came from a Disney generation. What I mean by that is things like I am very well versed with, say, gummy bears, that kind of thing, or the other cheesy stuff going on. Care Bears was, that was our thing, or I watched a good bit of G.I. Joe, just because that happened to be on. What else did we watch? I'm trying to remember. I mean, I've seen a good amount of Spider-Man that was so classically old that not only did they have the backgrounds being reused while Spider-Man's running around, but it was even the dialogue scenes were reused, and that's from animation where they're just adding voices over top of drawn pictures. So, yeah. Old. Nothing wrong with old, but way classic. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I grew up liking Tiny Toons. Well, not liking. I guess that was my fodder after school, was Tiny Toons with a snack, while I was, and a bit of Animaniacs. And then after that hour or so, I was supposed to go and do my homework. that was when I first got to be turnkey kid. So I was quite excited about that, and then not too impressed with the very next year because my brother got to join me. You know, the side effects of special programming. We got the Mortal Kid School, so that was great, except that the program, I didn't join the program till my grade 7. I was so excited because I got to be away from my brother in elementary school. It was fantastic. And there was no before and after school program, so it was always, you take the bus. But 2 things happened in that couple of years that I was not a fan of. And one was my brother got tested and found out, oh, great, when I went to grade 8, he was in the program too, because they had a grade 4 and up program, and he joined in grade 5. And I was like, great, now we're back in the same school on the cheese wagon. But I guess I can put up with him for a year, or 2, whatever, and then we'd be in the same school anyways. And then later that year, my dad got laid off from work, from an oil company, and it was just one of those ones where he finally decided he was too old. He had this notion in his head that nobody was going to hire an old guy, so he never really tried all that much to get back into work. But the resulting effect was I had come home from school with my brother one day, and we were expecting to watch a show or whatever and turn on the TV, and there's Dad sitting on a couch or something. I can't remember what he was reading, a magazine, I think. I said, "Oh, you sick?" "Nope, just off work." "Oh, okay." Not realizing in the short term what that meant, and then by the course of that evening, both he and my mother had explained it to us, but it's still, we weren't too surprised because this oil company had actually let employees go annually, like it was layoff season sort of thing, every year for the previous 12 years, and before they finally got my dad. So I mean, that was many years ago, but it was just a bit of a shocker to my system to be, able to come home after school and watch cartoons, and then suddenly that was over, because, of course, with Dad there, one of his ideas was, well, if he's not working, then he should probably be hanging around making sure we do our part of stuff. So then we had a policeman that wouldn't let us watch cartoons or eat snacks after school and had to make us do our homework right away. Needless to say, that was probably the door to the period that I started rebelling about doing my homework, and then got in a lot of trouble for trying to not do it. Say I was done and, hide the book under the couch or something. He also decided he was going to start making our lunches, which up to that point, PB&J is fantastic. You can get tired of it. Ham and cheese, you can get tired of it, no problem. But if you're suddenly getting sent egg salad sandwiches and getting chewed out if you don't finish your egg salad sandwich, well, at some point it's going to end up under the bed for 2 weeks. Until somebody finds it and decides, oh, what's this? And opens the container. I was not in good shape after that. But, drawing it back, cartoons. Cartoons were great. We used to see a lot of the old stuff. I mean, you don't see, because some of it is considered, I guess, inappropriate these days when it comes to, I used to leave mine at the bottom of the school bag. I used to leave my snacks at the bottom of the school bag, but we got to the point where my parents would, if they couldn't find a container, they would just keep looking. And school bags were not considered no-go places for parents, so they would just go and open up my bag and find all the homework that I had been avoiding doing and so on. So I actually hid the stuff under the bed. Well, here's the other piece of it I didn't actually include to tell you, but what made it worse. Okay, with the egg salad sandwich, that was bad enough, and it turned out there were probably reasons I didn't eat the egg salad sandwich that had nothing to do with the egg salad sandwich itself, directly. Well, sort of. But, I don't know if you guys remember classic Tupperware. So Tupperware, of course, had plastic glasses or cups or whatever that then had snap-on lids. My parents thought this was fantastic, so they would send us milk in our lunch in these, which of course I didn't want to drink because it was cool to be part of the school's, what was it, like milk? It was the milk program, but you could get like a fresh cold milk that had been sitting in a refrigerator with your lunch. I think the thing cost like what boiled down to less than 25 cents a day or something ridiculous. So, I mean, my mom did end up buying into it eventually when she figured out what was going on. But initially, she thought, oh, well, everybody else is having milk too. Why should we spend this little bit more and get all these cartons and whatever? That she said, yeah, we'll use these reusable glasses. That's fantastic. Well, I went and put that under the bed with the egg salad sandwich. Not a good scene, because even skim milk, gross as that sounds, mixed up from powder, yep, even grosser. Skim milk mixed up from powder does not have a problem curdling and building up enough gas that it eventually will pop the lid off. So when that happens under your bed, yeah, big bad news. So you've got the egg salad sandwich that by that point is growing beard, and then there's the milk that's gone sour and curdled and popped the lid off. I really did eat some of my lunches. We'd actually, years later, after I was well out of school, and we'd stopped having these fights and stuff over lunches and so forth, that it was determined actually that I'm lactose intolerant. So that was part of the reason why my parents always had to fight with me to finish up milk at the dinner table. I was lactose intolerant and likely to be gluten sensitive or wheat sensitive. So I did gluten-free for years and years and years. And then, of course, as expected, the symptoms seemed to go away, so you could get away with not doing things. And there's some of the testing for being a celiac or gluten intolerant is another one, because your system wouldn't know how to break down the gluten proteins, I think they are. Anyways, some of that testing is somewhat invasive. I mean, that they can do biopsies and stuff. Also, some of the other testing for it is just gross. I'm not going to get into details because it's just, yucky. But the result, of course, is that my GP, even though the balance of the probability was that I've got something like that, she'd rather go with saying, yeah, probably, and then saying, if you need something on your paperwork, we'll put you down as IBS. But that just means irritable bowel, which, that's a catch-all for the, yep, can't test for it, or the, we don't know what it is. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there is a solution. Some people, it's hard to nail down. That's why this whole phrase exists. But it also doesn't solve anything. So, anyway, the point is to this story was that that might be why I didn't like and I don't like egg salad to this day for the association reasons. But I have no problem with deviled eggs. I know no problem with hard-boiled eggs. You can cook eggs, like have warm eggs, omelets and so forth, and I'm fine with all of that. But something about egg salad specifically, and especially as a sandwich, really, really, really does not work for me. And, yeah. But if it's things that are making me feel awful and making me feel sick, and I don't like the taste because my brain's figured out they make me feel sick, then I'm not going to want to eat them, and we got into huge fights about not finishing your lunch. And it wasn't that my parents couldn't afford it. They were fine with that. I mean, they made no bones about it, saying, yes, we know, let's find something, but it had to be a sandwich. And so if it wasn't something I loved over the moon, like peanut butter and jam mixed together, or peanut butter and honey, or, it's not just peanut butter, I mean, peanut butter and banana, like back in the day when you can actually give people those sorts of things, then I didn't want to put up with feeling rough. So, yeah, we'd have huge fights over that. And my mom would say, why is it that you always like your winter lunches better than your summer lunches? Well, because the winter lunches were things like chicken and rice soup in a thermos. For somebody who might be gluten sensitive, chicken and rice soup is yummy. But yeah, now that we figured out thanks, Fantastic Shock Fox, on both fronts. But now that we figured out that I might be sensitive and that I'm definitely lactose intolerant, we can deal with that, and so I don't have to worry about that for myself as much anymore because I probably should still be doing the gluten-free thing. I always feel better when I do, but I'm less fussed about it because I've just backed off the amount of bread. Because my parents used to use bread in all kinds of things. It seemed to be everywhere. But also the other part of it is when I do remember to take the pills for dealing with lactose, and I don't have lactose and bread in the same meal, then I'm very unlikely to have a problem. But I mean, things like pizza will throw me for a curve. And yet, naan bread does not, even though it's not that far off content-wise. Well, okay, that's not true. It does throw me, but not nearly as badly. So, I can deal. I can deal if I'm just eating a cheese stick, you know, along with like cut veggies or something. But if you put a bun in with that, I'm in trouble. It could be. We get processed, I mean, there's processed meat, but then in Canada, I'd still have a challenge, even if I ate just like a cheese pizza. So just plain cheese. We also, I am one of those pineapple on pizza people. So I do actually like pineapple with pea meal bacon, I guess, or it's probably the best way of explaining it. Pea meal bacon, or what the Canadians call back bacon, which is not the back at all. And that's a far less processed product than some of your pepperonis and so on and so forth. So if I don't put two together, then I'm usually fine. And with the cheese side, now that I know, I can usually take a pill and be generally okay. But yeah, you mix the two together without a pill, and I will be wrapped up in a ball in a corner. Either that or, you know, disappear to the ladies and you don't see me for like an hour, which is TMI, and I won't go deep into that any further because that's just gross. But, yeah. So that's part of why I used to get in trouble from my parents all the time for not finishing my lunch. And then we found out why. So I don't drink a whole lot of milk anymore. The other part was I grew up on... I don't know what ever got my parents into doing this. I don't know, health kick maybe on my dad's part? I don't know. But yeah, we used to buy the big bags of skim milk powder and mix it up, according to directions, but mix it up the night before you need to use it. So it would actually have a chance to sort of reconstitute and rehydrate overnight, which wasn't that bad. But then, of course, getting used to growing up with skim milk, then when we first switched in our household, I know for a long time I had Fantastic Sherlock Fox buying both skim milk and 2%, because I wouldn't touch the 2%. That was for him. We tried 1% for a while, and that didn't end up sticking long term. But eventually, over time, I managed to get used to 2%. I don't dislike skim milk. I still insist that it has to be made up the night before. But if I'm making up a recipe or something and I run short on milk, I'm not above, you know, quickly figuring out what the math would be of how much skim you need and tossing that in. It's not a big deal. Which is going to gross my kids out to no end, because I fully intend to be taking skim milk powder and cereal when I start backpacking with my kids in Scouts. That's definitely going to be one of my things. Or even, you know, instant oatmeal. I don't normally have milk with my oatmeal for the whole point of being lactose intolerant. But, yeah, skim milk and cereal, yum. Or the other thing we did is I'm too used to hot chocolate made with milk rather than just simply hot chocolate powder in water. Some of them actually, if you look at those products, they'll have milk powder in with the chocolate. So it seems like they're fully intending to do that. They're just doing it with the powdered milk that way rather than as a separate stage. Some people don't like ham and pineapple, but here's the thing. Someone suggested on Dadcraft's Discord, I think it was, might have been one of the Zerks. Anyways, was suggesting, yeah, I got Zerked. But they were suggesting trying pineapple and pepperoni. And I think I like that as well, if not slightly better. Now, the thing is, a lot of hams can be fairly sweet. And that's really what it comes down to, is are you having it with ham or more with what would be the pea meal bacon? And so if I have it with the bacon, it's actually not that bad and it's not very sweet. If I have it with more of a ham, then the difference being is that those are often sweeter, and I don't really like it pineapple with that. The other thing I find is some pizza places are making it with canned pineapple. And my issue with canned pineapple is I find it tastes sweeter right off the bat. Whereas, because you lose out on some of the acid effect from a fresh raw pineapple. Come on. Okay, fine. Yeah, there's plenty of milk alternatives that people have talked about. I tried actually at one point, I made a bit of a mistake, but the idea behind it was sound, I think. Was I was reading about what people call bulletproof coffee, with a little bit of butter in with your coffee, and the idea being that it gives you a bit more substance to work with. Similar concept. I've also, over the years, had people suggest putting a little bit of butter in my hot chocolate when I go to bed. What? Yeah, no, seriously, try the butter in the hot chocolate. You would laugh, but it actually is really, really tasty, which explains sort of part of why I liked, as a kid, sometimes we'd have what we call toast and cocoa for breakfast, just when we were in a rush or whatever, and it's basically hot chocolate with little buttered toast soldiers, so little strips of toast. And they'd always have that buttered hot chocolate feel, but that does seem to help. It's not really protein, but it did seem to help make it stick a little longer. So I did that, but the mistake I had made was, sure, in summer, you can use coconut oil because it doesn't actually go all melty on you instantly. You can use coconut oil in the summer. That's great. It's fine while the drink is hot. Don't do it in the winter. I tried that at camp in shoulder season in my Yeti mug with the screw-on lid, and it's got an insert inside. So you've got a ring and then you've got an insert inside you can twist to let stuff out. And yeah, I got congealed coconut oil chocolate sludge in the threads of the mug, and that's not pleasant to try and clean out when you've got disgusting post-youth wash water. And it's rapidly losing heat, so you're even losing the melting effect. Yeah, seriously, give it a shot. It sounds really, really strange. Now, the kicker, though, is twofold. If you have the opportunity, it's more expensive, but if you have the opportunity, try it with the European butter, and preferably unsalted. Because salt in your coffee, I don't know, that's just... To me, that's one step too far. You can do it with regular salted butter, but I find unsalted tastes better. And the European butter has a higher fat content to it than North American butters do. How do I explain it? Yeah, it's a little different than North American butters. I don't know what the... Here, let me look it up. Just give me a quick second here. Oh, no, wrong window. I got one window where I got a gazillion tabs, and one window where I had the fortune thing from this morning. Okay, European versus US versus Oz butter fat content. Okay, so according to kitchenstories.com, in the US, China, and Australia, so North America, China, and Australia, butter must be made from cream with a minimum of 80% fat. Whereas in European Union, the fat content in butter is a richer 80 to 90%, resulting in a different level of creaminess. Also, supposedly, the European butters are churned longer. So yeah, where is it here? Article. So Australian butter is apparently yellower. Well, at least a lot of people in North America think so. But it's usually yellower. Why is it more yellow? That's a good question. What did it say here? Yeah, they're just talking about why European butter is different, even though the article claims to be about Australian butter, so it's not really helpful. Oh, supposedly Australian dairy cattle graze on grass with a higher level of beta-carotene than the ones in other parts of the world. And that's that compound that makes carrots orange. So the result then is that the butter comes out more yellow. Whereas many North American and European cattle are housed in barns and fed dry food, which contains less beta-carotene. Yeah. Also, European butter can be at times be referred to as sweet cream butter. According to the USDA, that's what you might find if you're looking for European-styled butter in the US. Yeah. So I thought that's kind of interesting. Another piece you'll find in different brands of American butter. Yeah, me too, originally. But different brands of American butter also have different levels of moisture. So they have a percentage of the butter fat in the cream they're using to begin with, but also by brand, it seems to be different in what the percentage of leftover wet moisture is. So some of them, when you cool your butter in the refrigerator, some of them will firm up quicker than others, and that has got to do with how much water is left in that pound of butter you bought. Even though it still meets the same requirements of the 80% butter fat in the cream being used to make it. Yeah, sweet butter in the central US takes getting used to. That stuff is sugary sweet. Like, although I will say, if you're into European scones, I hear that for those attempting a crossover, it's not the same, but it's a poor man's North American substitute, because we don't do decent clotted cream over here either. Ah! Oops. My brain was thinking, oh, I'm gonna go and just spread my elytra. Yeah, not happening. We haven't been to the end in this world. Although, weirdly enough, we've got a stronghold underneath us, so I guess it's not really weird in Bedrock. Ooh, nice. So, I have one day worth of stream left to do before we take off to Ireland, but it'll be probably a lot more of this, unless I manage to figure out structure in the meantime. We'll see how times go, but I suspect it's going to be a lot more choppity chop, whether it be here or maybe might be wall building on Java, because I know I can take this. So I think we're going to call it for this evening, and we'll trade off and find ourselves someone to raid. Zero sounds like our first candidate. I'm just going to double check and see if there's anyone else that I'm missing in the meantime. So sorry for such an abrupt direction of change, but thanks for the stream, and hey, go enjoy that butter. Remember, try it with your coffee. You may want to check and see what your fat and sweetness content is first. Okay, so we've got a 1-year anniversary stream back to where I began, from Zeroed. Though he's been at it for an hour, so we'll join you in the program, already in progress. But I think he'll probably appreciate that. And then after that, for those of you that stick around, thanks, Dibble Shrugs, that was great. So for those of you that stick around, after that, there will be probably at least a partial exodus over to Dadcraft, and I will probably be seeing you guys there. So let's get this raid started, and then I'll wish everybody a great evening. By name. Spell. Yoink. There we go. Stream Deck buttons for the win.
Mischief managed.
So thank you this evening to subscription gifts from Fantastic Sherlock Fox and Scrublord, as well as the cheers from ITT Tom and Scrublord. You guys spoiled me to death, and I am very thankful for it. Also, thank you for new follower Night Skies from New Zealand. Pleased to have you aboard. Also, thank you to the Clue Spenders, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, James Corey, and Scrublord. And the Hype Train conductors, included ITT Tom and Scrublord. We did reach at least level 2, so I was impressed. Moderators tonight were Fantastic Sherlock Fox and Scrublord. VIP was a double-headed ITT Tom, somehow. And then chat from Arch Thunder, Creef, Dibble Shrugs, James Curry, Alan Owl Poppins, as well as Night Skies, JF Birdblue, and NPC Connor. So if you were just hanging out and chilling, I want to say thank you very much for dropping by, and I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow at roughly noon Eastern Time, and then we'll see you on the flip side. Have yourself a fantastic evening, and bye-bye for now.